bringing you the latest news from Monterey Athletics. This is the Plainsman Fan Zone podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back into the high school fan zone on a Monday night. One more reminder that Monday nights are LISD nights, so it's Coronado, Estacado, Lubbock High, and Monterey hits cleanup every Monday night, 6 to 7:30 p.m. So we are in the Plainsman fan zone. If you're watching on TV, you can see to my far left is Simon Hernandez. I'm going to make him blush here because I just told Juan Rodriguez, this dude is one of the best coaches in Lubbock, period. Your friend Alistair Caldwell, I said the same thing about him a few times. You could put you in charge of a Tiddlywinks team. I think you'd have them competing hard. Fair enough to say, because I've got two of his guys here. They have to say nice things about you, I know.
Oh, yeah, they definitely do.
But I bet they would anyway. Reese Razor, Frankie Diaz, not Miguel Robledo, even though I tried to rename you a minute ago. These two dudes have been around for a while.
These two dudes are definitely some of the staples that we have at this season.
I'm going to read these numbers off again. When you came in a few weeks ago, you were already off to a good season. And now we're at, let me find it. I just had it somewhere. It's just amazing to me. I'm looking at the girls. I'm trying to give you, girls had a great season too.
They definitely have. They're turning around. Yeah.
Monterey boys are 17-0-2, correct?
Correct.
14-0-1 in district. You're going to win district by 5 games?
Oh, I think
something like that.
I think we wrapped it up 3 games ago, so right around there. 3. I think we're 9 or 10 points clear right now. So
and you hurt people's feelings along the way. You don't make it close. Now you've had a couple of close matches. I don't get these guys to talk about how that's helpful at this time of year. Mm-hmm. But what is it about this group this last 3 years now that everything has gelled?
These guys, they came in together as freshmen, and Frankie came in and played both varsity JV. Reese was had to sit a year for the UIL, the transfer rule.
Came from Ropes.
Yes, sir.
Who does not have soccer.
And so,
and they still made you sit out.
I know it. And had every, that's just a roll of the dice on if they're.
I'm not going to even go down there.
Yeah. And so, so a lot of that group was kind of what Frankie did. They'd play varsity, play JV, but they did both. And so they started really getting to know each other then. And, of course, these guys know each other from playing against each other growing up. And so they already had that going into it. And then once we got them on the field as sophomores, it was off to the races.
I want you two to talk about that, too, because Coach is right. You can get coached. You can have experience together, but there's something about this chemistry. Frankie, what is it about you guys that has worked so well?
Yes, sir. I feel like Coach is right. We knew each other for like a long time, like outside of school. We played against each other, and I just feel like we're all good. So like we could play the ball good, and we just work together. It's like normal. It's like.
Natural, yeah. It just comes natural to these guys.
Natural.
Absolutely.
All right, so Reese, you come in from the country.
Yes, sir.
From the farm out there.
Yes, sir.
In Ropes. Ropes is pretty much farmland, right?
Yes, sir, it is.
And you join these guys. They're already pretty good.
Yes, sir.
How did you kind of work your way in? How did you fit into the equation?
I had already been playing with most of these guys since I was little. Frankie, Gio, Miguel, Trayshawn, most of the team. And since we already knew each other, that just made us mesh really well. But even already on the field when we started playing together, we just somehow, some way, we're all just very like-minded on the field, and we all know what each other wants to do.
Coach sent me a note about you last week. I'm going to get Frankie to talk about this. When you got a goalkeeper that good, you trust him.
I do trust him.
It's kind of like a shot blocker in basketball. You can kind of take some gambles and do some things in front of him because you know he's not going to let anything by him.
Yes, sir. And everybody has to play their part. Everybody plays their part, and we're good. And there's nothing to worry about. He's our last, defender, and not too worried because he got it. He dives, catches it. He's good. He's a good enough player.
I think that kind of goes both ways for these guys, too, because Reese also knows that you got a guy up there like Frankie, you got Gio, you got JT, Juan, Carlos, all these guys up there that even if the game's close can go off and score in bunches. And so even if you happen to make a mistake, these guys will drag you out. And then these guys know that if the ball's not going in, then we've got him behind us. So it really is a good problem, good thing for us to have, is to have a really good keeper and a pretty good offense at times.
One of you two will know this. How many goals have you guys given up this year?
5.
Wow, he did that.
I mean, they only scored on us, like, they get lucky. They get close, and they just ricochet, and it goes in.
So we've given up, I like the way Frankie thinks, we've given up 9 district goals.
Okay.
And then I think, so maybe 13 or 15, 13 total.
So less than 1 a game.
Yeah, it's about half a goal a game is where we're at right now. And in those games, 6 of those came in 2 matches. One at the 2 district matches, and those, the other ones are just kind of unlucky. And then there's probably been 2 or 3 that are just, that's what that's what the other team's out there trying to do.
Exactly. I think people often forget that the other team likes to win too. There's usually 2 teams out there trying to win. But that just tells me that Frankie was trying to give you a little bit more credit than Coach was.
Frankie's probably trying to count only the ones that he thought.
It's because it feels like 5 goals.
Fair enough. The reason
got some own goals in there, all kinds of stuff. So Frankie didn't count those.
The reason I bring that up is I mentioned that you guys have run away with a lot of matches, but there's been a couple of close ones. We're coming up on a break. We've got an extra segment tonight, so we'll talk about it. But as a coach, I'm going to guess that you don't mind some of those close ones as we get closer to the playoffs, because that's going to kind of get your hide a little tougher when you get to this point. You don't know playoffs yet. You know you're in the playoffs. You're going to face somebody from the Abilene-Wichita Falls district.
I'm pretty sure it's Abilene High at this point.
Okay, who you've used to be in district. No, that's
we were in our district with us the last 2 years.
Okay, so somebody who's familiar. That's just step one. This is a group that's been to what's doesn't exist anymore, but has been to the regional tournament the last 2 years. Now it's looking for that step and a few more. So we're going to come back and talk more Monterey boys soccer after the break on the Plainsman Fan Zone. This is 100.7 The Score, and I'm Randy Rosetta.
Diving headfirst into Monterey athletics. You're listening to the Plainsman Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score and the 100.7 The Score mobile app.
Welcome back to the Plainsman Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score. I'm with 3 members of the Monterey boys soccer team. 3rd district championship in a row?
Yes, sir.
And really, that's going to sound wrong if I say you cruised to this one. This one was, you wrapped it up pretty quickly, which is good. It means you've played really well. But, Simon, we were talking before the break, and we talked during the break. You want your guys to get tested a little bit at this time of year because you want to be ready for what lies ahead. Now, you finished the regular season against Palo Duro, which has been a very good opponent for you the last few years. If I remember right, took you to overtime in the playoffs last year.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Do you like the fact that you've got a team that I know they're already in the playoffs, but they're going to come in here. They would like nothing better than to spoil things for you guys a little bit here at the end. Do you like the fact that you've got a team that wants to come in here and test you?
Absolutely. Those guys there are, before we kind of started having our run, they were the guys down there to beat, or up there to beat. And so, anytime you can try to sway that back your direction, you want to go ahead and go after it. So I expect them to come out ready to go. And I know before the season started, a lot of the coaches were talking together saying there's no way the district champ in this district, as tough as it is, will go through unbeaten. And so that's kind of one of the things that we kind of want to go out there and prove that too. It's definitely going to be a tough one tomorrow, but at least we've given ourselves the opportunity to try and do that.
For you two, I know I was a high school athlete. Blowouts are fun. Those are nice to be, but I always like the games where you get to the end and you're having to sweat and think and execute. You're going to get into that in the playoffs. How excited are you to get to that step where you know that every minute, every play is going to be important?
Yes, sir. They're exciting. They're really exciting, and you just have to focus every single second, every single second. You got to focus, talk to your team, move the ball around, and then you just constantly got to keep running. It's the love of the game. You got to keep playing it. It's just what you got to do, and it's really exciting. They're really exciting when they're really good games, and see who wins, whoever wants it more,
Reese, you've got a little bit different perspective on that because goalkeeper, there's a lot of inaction that goes on, but then when it gets, I can't say the word I'm thinking of, when it gets to crunching time, let's put it that way.
Yes, sir.
You've got to. You need to be tested before you get into those situations. Do you want PD to come at you a little bit this week?
Yes, sir. I know I'm ready to be tested, but I also know that I'm ready to have my team ready to be tested as well. I have a lot of trust in my back line and my midfield for keeping the ball away from me as well. But I also know that if something gets back to me, I'll be there ready for it.
If I remember right, that when they took you to overtime a few years ago, I think I covered it, and I think afterwards you told me you thought that would be good for your guys moving forward, and that was that the first year you got to the regional tournament?
Yes, sir. That's when they broke through right there, and that game and having to do it in overtime and getting the goal in the second overtime, and then they had a chance late in the game to tie it up. I mean, that kind of stuff is what I think these guys remember, and they draw off that.
Without getting too personal, I may have put hair on their chest back then.
Well, no, not these two.
Okay. Right. Fair enough.
And Frankie's just being nice. I know he likes the blowouts too. That's my guy, Frankie. But he'll look at me because I'll start rotating people in, and he gives me the evil eye, and I'm like, all right.
Yeah, if it's somewhat close, you get to play.
I want to win. Yeah.
Same thing for you. Blowouts are nice for a coach, but that's when you get into games as a coach. Those are the reason you coach. Those are the games that you remember more than 8-0.
Yep. Those games there, and even the one we had last Friday with Cooper, we get a 2-goal lead, and then they'd cut it in half, and I think that was really good to see how we responded and what we need to do if we do get that 2-goal lead and we don't capitalize and build on it and let people hang around. Just feel that different type of pressure, because when we play those guys, it's it's a rivalry and it's always fun crowd, and it's a playoff. It's kind of a playoff atmosphere, so that helps us get ready for making a run.
That was 4-3. So that's 3 of the
9 district goals. Yep.
There you go. That accounts for a lot of them. We're coming up on the second break on the Plainsman Fans, and we're going back to talk to these guys. We mentioned this between breaks here, that a lot of similarities between this program and the Monterey girls basketball program. When the Monterey girls ramped it up, they took it another couple levels here to kind of lay the gauntlet down for these guys. And Simon's a Monterey graduate, so I'm sure he's proud of his school, but also thinking, dang, girls, now we have to try to match this. But I bet you want your guys to kind of match that. So we're coming up on a break. This is the High School Fan Zone. It's the Plainsman Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score, and this is Randy Rosetta.
Your inside look into Monterey sports. This is the Plainsman Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score and the 100.7 The Score mobile app.
Welcome back in for one more segment of the Plainsman Fan Zone. We're with the Monterey boys soccer contingent here. I mentioned before the break that there's a lot of similarities between what you guys have done the last few years and what the girls basketball program did. They got to the regional tournament, got to the regional finals, couldn't break through, finally broke through this year, finished hoisting that big old trophy on state championship day. We'll get these guys to talk about it. You guys know those girls. You walk the halls with them. That's a cool deal for your school. But now people are looking at you guys and thinking, okay, now it's your turn. Do you like that?
Yeah, I do agree. Some of the basketball girls, of course, I told them, let me touch the medal. So they let me. And what's it called? And she just told me, now it's y'all's turn, because they know how good we are, and we're doing really good in our season. And then I feel like we have a chance, so I just told us that it's our turn, and I feel like it's our turn.
Frankie's kind of the Aaliyah Chavez of boys soccer in Lubbock.
He's a bad dude, yeah. He's a bad dude
doing that stuff. So that makes you what? You're the Ambrosia? No, you'd be more like the Ari Johnson, because she's defensive. Reese is. I mean, I joke that it's pressure, but you want that. You want to be able to say, hey, somebody else has done it. Now we need to go prove ourselves.
Yes, sir. I agree. When we were at the state championship game, me and my family went down there. Mr. Perkypaw walked past me after the game was over. He was like, y'all better make it a second one.
No pressure.
Yeah.
Now, it'd be one thing if he's telling Coach that. That would be some pressure.
Well, and it's one of those deals that watching the girls team do it and being with these guys for a while, it's a lot of teams can talk about playoffs, can talk about state championships, and in the back of your head you're going, well, we can all talk about that, and it's neat, it's fun. But then seeing it and doing it, see them doing it right in your own backyard, and girls like you said that they go to school with, it's like it can be done, it's possible, but we have to make sure we handle one game at a time.
And to be fair, the recent success at Monterey is not just girls basketball and boys soccer. Brian Cronk and that softball crew have knocked on the door. Baseball just a few years ago got knocked out by a guy named Bobby Witt in the regional championship round. Your football team made a little run, so it's school-wide.
Oh yeah, and I know cross country they've had state champions, and they're those guys go to state too. So that's what we look at and go, we can from right here we can do it.
So since we're talking comparisons, I always ask Jill if Aaliyah Chavez or Brobro or Ambrosia Cole ever got her to get into like a shooting contest, and she wouldn't do it. You guys ever had Coach put the cleats on and show you what he could do back in the day?
No.
They don't want that.
No, sir.
You don't want that smoke?
No.
Coach has had a penalty or two on me before, but I think I saved both of them.
You remembered it wrong. I must have went left-footed.
He don't play with us, but when the ball goes to him, he makes like a good touch, and he does his thing. He does good. He still got it, yeah.
And in soccer terminology, good touches, that's a compliment.
That's a good thing. Yes, that's a good thing.
That's a coach's. That's in a coach's vocabulary, and over again.
And when he demonstrates our practices, he demonstrates it himself, so we can see what we do. And his touches they look good. They're really good.
See, so you must have gotten rid of that baby weight that you were talking about from when.
Yeah, a long time ago. Absolutely.
Yeah, that happened. So for those
who old lungs
wonder what we're talking about, we're talking about how much respect we have for the female coaches who keep coaching when they got a baby on the way. Because good grief, I don't know if I could. Like you said, just sometimes you just get winded walking back and forth. So. These guys don't get winded, though. They are in the middle. Tell me that number you just said right before the break. This senior group, so we were talking, you've got 7 seniors who form the nucleus of this team. Your biggest senior class was one of your first few years, but this is the most successful senior class you've had. Give me that. Say that number you said right before we came back.
These guys in the last 3 years have only lost 2 games in the 65, 66 plus games that they've played. So. And they've both been to the same team in the same round of the playoffs. So, and
we're going to pull the bandage off one more time. Mm-hmm. Last year, you lost on. Was it you guys that had the one that bounced over a defender's head?
Yes, sir. The keeper to keeper.
It was fluky.
Absolutely. That win and everything else was just the right combination for the other guys instead of us.
So he's going to give me a signal we're here done. But hearing Coach talk about that, both you guys give me your quick answer of how motivated you are now when you hear about that.
It's crazy how it happened, but I feel like the win that got it, and just misread the ball, and nothing you can do about it. Just get over it. Keep practicing.
He's leaving it for you, Reese. You get to answer.
Yeah. That's all you got to do is keep practicing.
Let Reese take us home here. How motivating are you after that? How motivated are you?
Will make me take us all the way to as far as we need to go.
Just need to get rid of that nightmare. You're one of those guys do you have it saved on your phone? That's a big thing for this generation. I have a hunch that these guys will be playing for a while, so we'll have them back on here in a few weeks. This is Randy Rosetta. It's 100.7 The Score. Good night on a Monday night from the High School Fan Zone.